something? Yeah, I just let it start.
If y'all want your worksheets for the test next week, y'all can get them today.
You want your worksheets back?
You can say I'm a great representative of y'all.
To keep your ears warm?
Yeah, and this thing.
And a what?
This thing too. It's a multi-purpose scarf. You can wear it on your neck, on your head. I used to wear this belt.
Did you ever watch Survivor? Okay, Survivor, they had, what was it called? It was called something, but I wear it on my head. But some of the little girls who were so small, they could wear it like as a tube top. But it would stretch. What's it called? There's a name for it. I wear it on my head.
Do you rag?
No, it's like that, but that would be square. This is where it's. Anyway, I'll.
Is that like the corn deal?
No, that's got corn super slurper in it. That's what that is.
Okay, I have to get Spanish papers. Spanish company.
I have to.
If there are any.
Very cute.
I think I was behind you, and I was like, hey, I'm the only one running like that. Yeah, then I was like, I was like, I think so.
Yeah, I parked in 30 minutes.
Yeah, I parked in front of the pool, but something else.
Oh, those are bad.
Okay, well, I got it.
My innovation, you want to hear it?
In just a minute.
Okay, I didn't know if you want to pull something up.
Oh, do you want to pull something up? Why can't I find Chrome? Where is it? Oh, it's here.
It's canned wine. Yes.
Okay. Do we want to look at a specific one?
Yeah, cupcake.
Oh, I saw that. I just saw something on that. Where do you want me to go?
I don't know. I'm sure there's pictures of it.
Do they have a site? Do you ever go to Pop Sugar?
Sure.
Yeah, half bottle in each one.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good deal. She's doing the farm her thing today. Whatever that is. Anyone? Aunt Raina.
Okay, so you know how they're talking about the negative things that can happen.
Hang on just a second. Okay. Thanks so much. Sorry to cheat you out of your education. We didn't realize we were starting so late. Raina.
We were talking about the negative effects on innovation.
Yeah. Yes, some undesirable consequences. You thought of one?
Yes. So in North Texas, where I'm from, there's a lot of like wild hogs.
Yes.
And they were becoming an issue. So all these companies came in and were like, put this, like they're like, almost like big blocks. It looks like they can lick off, and it'll kill them.
Oh, I've heard of this.
Okay, so.
Okay, so to deal with the feral hog population, it's like we don't know what to do. It's we're shooting them with helicopters. They reproduce faster than anything else, and so one solution has been to poison them. Okay, and it's a block that they lick on or eat. Okay, and
so what they didn't think of is there's a lot of people in that area that, because it's kind of a lower income area, that live off of the wild hogs. If they realize there's not a hunting season for them, so they'll go kill them, pick them up off the side of the road and eat them. Well, we've had 3 people in my county die because they've eaten a hog that has gotten the poison and it goes into their meat.
Interesting, because I know one of the first thoughts was not people, but that scavengers, animals that would eat then this dead hog, would they be susceptible? So if it's a turkey vulture, a coyote, or whatever, and so we kill the hog, but what does it do to down the eco chain? And people are at one part of that. Peyton?
Well, yeah, it's like those blocks that are using, they have urea in them. That's what's killing these pigs. So yeah, you can't eat the pigs after they eat urea, because urea will kill you too, obviously.
Yeah, I know.
But do you see it as it's an unintended consequence? We didn't think that, or we didn't anticipate that people were going to be eating these animals that were roadkill or poison kill. Sam?
Have people, obviously people have been eating these like for a while, but like
Wild hogs?
where I'm from, like nobody eats them.
Well, in some areas, the wild hogs are simply domestic hogs that have gone feral. You know, there's no Russian blood in. They're not razorbacks. They're not these exotic animals that have a tainted taste to them. They are just they're just hogs that have been eating acorns. Okay, again, back to this idea of Berkshire of high quality pork that might be served in a restaurant that has more flavor. But there are people that will capture those animals and will feed them out, or will take them to slaughter, and you say they would some people would treat it just like any other game animal, right?
And they're processing them themselves, and they're like, if they were taking it to a processor, a lot of times whoever's processing it can tell, okay, this is bad meat, but they're doing it themselves and just putting it in their fridge and eating it.
Interesting. What?
I was gonna ask where
Yeah.
she's from.
Around the shovels.
Where?
Owl Park.
Okay, my family's from like Bowie and Indiana.
Yeah, so like just north of that, and like between Owl Park and Vernon is one of the lowest income areas, like Electric Texas, like their school can barely stay open because they can't collect enough taxes to keep it open in that area. So it's like a serious issue in that whole area. They just don't capture them and eat.
So it's interesting. The problem is there's just so many problems there. One is that there are folks that want to encourage wild hogs. They want to use it as hunting, and then anyone else who's a landowner, the hogs just destroy cropland, and then we've just decided it's impossible to eradicate. We've tried all these different things, and that's the most promising one right now is poisoning. And you'd say even though it's the most promising, there are some possibilities of some long-term bad effects. Okay.
Other animals thinking whatever the block party.
Yeah. Any idea about that? Other animals that would consume this poison?
I know that there was a problem with worrying about like cattle getting into it, so they had like said make sure you're putting it where they couldn't get into it. But I mean, if a hog can get to it.
But the issue really is it's like we've tried just so many things. The hogs are smart. The traps, if you don't get it, if they escape or they figured it out, there's no chance you're going to get them hunting with helicopters. They reproduce quickly. We're in a temperate area, and they've just continued to expand. one of the problems is we have lots of absentee landowners. It's the same problem with eastern red cedar. We have people that own land that never go out there, and they don't manage the land. They just own it, and it's in their name, but they don't do anything. And so that there are wild hogs out there, if they're next to you, well, they're not going to take care of it. Or if it's eastern red cedar, or it's Bradford pear, or whatever. So because you've got kind of a very wide distribution of people, you have large areas that maybe there aren't any people living, and we're just not going to be able to control them. I don't see any other than the poisoning, and it's just a way of controlling. We're not going to eradicate.
Apparently, Noble Research Center has, I can't remember who I was talking to who was telling me about it, but it's a big, it's a cage, and it's linked to your phone. So it's supposedly you're supposed to get all of them in there, and then you drop it. I don't really know how.
Yeah, it's what Peyton said. It's the best research we have on capturing and controlling. But again, we're not going to eradicate it permanently.
It's like 20 or 30,000 just to have that set up. So you're not going to go buy that to catch pigs.
Well, I probably buy several of them because I'm playing the lottery every week. One of these days.
So my dad, the ranch that he works on is right next to the Wagner, and of course the Wagner's been sold, but they just signed a contract 6 weeks ago, and 3 ranchers went in, and they're paying $45,000 every 6 months to have a helicopter come in 3 times during those 6 months.
And that's just to control. And one of the problems is we have people that want to have wild hogs, people that want to have areas and take on wild hog hunting. And so it's not just everybody agrees we want to get rid of wild hogs. There's a certain population, and they are politically gifted, apparently.
Well, it's even like the people that bought the wagon obviously have a lot of money. They never get sold.
Yeah, and they won't let anybody hunt on it. That's another issue.
Come in, so but they can't. They don't want the pigs, obviously. They're paying all this money. They're like you said, the people who own land that never show up.
That are around them.
That surround that place. They're not going to keep it off that place because everybody else around them is not going to spend money.
Right.
It's
a problem. A real problem. It's probably within agriculture. I'd say at least south of I-40. It's probably one of that and fire ants. One of the most important problems, and they're just moving. Anyone have an innovation? Oh, okay. Anyone else have innovation? I forgot to turn the projector on. Something they want to share? Next Thursday is our second exam. On Tuesday, I'll give you possible questions. Okay, and so the questions for the exam will come from that. It'll be much like the first exam, where it'll be some vocabulary and some essays or short answers. Wintergreen was the only flavor that they had at Valero. The one on Duck Street said, people keep coming in and ask us about it, and we don't have it. And I said, well, it's on the website that you're supposed to have it. You can tell I do this a lot.
I'll try this one.
Good.
Where am I supposed to put it? In your bottom?
Oh, but you would have tried last week. So
That's right. You won't try last week's.
Coffee just doesn't.
Okay, Demi wants to talk about cupcake wine.
I don't know, but it's a half.
Where can you buy those cans? Don't you know that one? That's when the kid comes to Harvard and said, "Where's the library at?" And the guy says, "I'm sorry, but you're at Harvard now. We don't end a sentence in a preposition." I said, "Where's the library at, asshole?" Anyway. Contains no nicotine, contains no tobacco. There's an oyster flavor apparently. I'm waiting on the oyster flavor. I don't know who is trying oyster flavor. Oyster flavor. Why? $5.35 for that. Tastes like nothing to me.
That's what the baseball coach in my hometown. We just got a turf field, so now they're not allowed to do sunflower seeds, and the boys ticked, so they were bringing dip into the thing. So he went and bought like 6 cases of that, and he's like, "You can't have dip in, but I'll let you have this."
Not cheap. Okay, thank you. Thank those people that are already high on whatever's going around. Okay, get a grip. You don't eat it. Chelsea's gonna try some.
I already had coffee before. I'm going to run around.
Thank you so much for being quiet, Demi.
Okay, so I got cupcake wine is my favorite type of wine. And I got shagged in this. I was pretty excited. But they don't have my favorite flavor yet. They have a half a bottle of wine in it, which is incredible.
Are these the only 2 flavors?
That's the only 2 flavors they're announcing right now. I hope they get Moscato de Asti because that's my jam. But I have heard someone try a rosé and they were not impressed.
And you see, as compared to what rosé tastes like in a bottle?
Yeah, like the actual bottle that they provide compared to that, they say it's not the same.
Interesting. Maybe the metal affects the flavor.
Which I do see that in like mom. I'd rather have like a soda in a can rather than a bottle. So like the can does make a difference. So
Okay.
I feel like it would with this. But I don't know, like box wine tastes different than bottled wine, so.
You think it does?
Yeah, but now, so Cupcake was one of the first to, well not one of the first, but one of the people that changed to the twist off tops.
Yes.
Because they're supposedly fresher and they're like.
Actually better than corks,
better
yeah.
than the corks. So I think that's kind of where they started, and now they're like, well, that's metal, so let's just keep going and make cans.
Okay,
So-
and so, I don't know if beer used to be almost always sold in bottles. You recycle the bottles and then cans, and then you had flip tops, and then people would get killed. Talk about unintended consequences. You'd swallow the tab because people would throw it in. But do you think, I don't know, 20 years from now, we'll just won't be having bottles of wine? It'll be cans and
Probably
boxes
cheaper end of stuff, yes.
because it's going to reduce the cost so much. Okay. Any?
I mean, but still, like, you always have those old fancy wines, you know, that have been aging for.
I mean, your $5, that bottle of wine
Could-
is like $12, so they can almost reduce a lot of cost by. And okay, that's half a bottle of wine. How many times, you open a bottle of wine and it's not fresh, so that's also. And like I was thinking, like that's gonna be great for like beach trips, like to take because you can't take bottles.
Tailgating.
Yeah, tailgating beach trips. You can't take a whole bottle.
Oh yeah, beaches. Get the glass off the beaches.
Yeah. So
Do you know
I
if
think
this
that
comes
would
in
be-
like a 6-pack or?
I think I've seen that at Walmart. Walmart's got their wine aisle. I'm pretty sure I've seen that
I was just
there.
in it yesterday.
And you didn't see it? Maybe I just saw Cupcake. But it's an entry level. It's a inexpensive wine, and so mass market. And so you'd say if the box wine works, the box also comes in that 2-bottle size also. I don't know if it's better. That'd be an interesting comparison. The box wine, which is basically in a plastic bag, and this, which was in a can.
You know what's crazy is you can buy this online.
Well, either crazy or you can't. You think that's, well, I don't know. I have 2% milk or whole milk.
Give us these.
2% milk or whole milk, and I can open both, but whatever you'd like to try.
2%.
And I have some crackers if you want to cleanse your. It's not like the dairy products contest. We don't want you spitting it. Anyone ever in FFA, dairy products competition? You're testing milk, tasting it for off flavors. And you can't swallow it because you swallow it'll mess up your taste buds. So you take a sample and you spit it. It was one of the all-time favorite contests when I taught. Kids loved the cheese because you ate the cheese, but you spit the milk.
I was thinking of pulling down my in front of that dairy contest. The movie, who does the dairy contest.
That's right. Cheese. Whole milk or 2%? Okay. Come on down. What? No, it's cold. I had it in the refrigerator. Then I put it in the freezer for about an hour this morning. It's really cold.
Is this an innovation because of the container?
No, that's not what. It's an innovation. There's a cracker there if you need to cleanse your palate.
You just drink, like it's not like you don't
Just
spit it
milk.
out.
It's milk. No, you don't. Tastes a little different to you?
A little bit. It's like
Okay.
richer.
Shouldn't be. It's just 2% milk.
And it tastes like more green.
It's just 2% milk.
Kind of tastes like sweet condensed milk. Yeah. A little bit. Yep. That's
Shouldn't.
the vibe I'm getting.
It shouldn't. Oh, hard for me to talk.
It's milk. Yeah.
Okay, don't all come down at once.
Did you try that in the
Yes. Will, do you want to have a selfie while you're drinking? I can take the picture.
I'm not a huge milk person.
You're not a huge milk.
You're good. It's a good day to have a good day.
You got this.
Tastes like cheese.
What happened? When did you hurt your foot?
I told you when I was at formal.
No, I forgot. You want me to bring it to you? You're coming. Good.
It's not bad.
It's not bad.
Why'd she make that face?
I don't know.
I'm like, okay, it's
That's
like
like what my
it's not.
This is 2%.
It's a little bit different. It's not bad. No.
People might need to cleanse their palate. Okay. The flavor is a little bit off, right? Okay. You thought thicker. I don't think it's thicker. Thought maybe it's richer, but you will buy this milk in a grocery store, and it is not refrigerated. Okay, you'll buy it in the aisle on baking supplies. It will be by the powdered milk, by the goat milk, by the powdered buttermilk. But it's UHT, it's ultra high temperature treated, okay, and it's shelf stable. So the expiration on this, expired last year. Oh no, I'm just kidding. May 18th, 2019, and I bought it last fall. So I bought it about 6 months ago. Yeah. Jackson.
Once you get, if you get tribal WIC or tribal commodities, like when you're a low-income tribal family, you can go and get like Indian commodities, and you get so much cheese, and this is the milk that they provide.
Okay, so tribes have decided that to provide surplus commodities, but just basic nutrition, whether it's WIC, women, infants, and children, or we just want to supplement the diet of tribal members, they will give you milk, and they will give it to you in a shelf-stable format. So in this box, right? Why in the world would they do that?
You're low-income family. Like our family.
No, not why would they give you milk. Why would they give you milk in this format? Why wouldn't they just give you a gallon of milk that's cold? Oh, you pass? I'm sorry, Savannah. Something else?
Like,
Corey?
it'll last longer.
Yes, it'll last longer. It'll last for 6 months. How long will that gallon of milk that they give you that's cold, how long will that last? Maybe
A week and 6 days.
Okay, this lasts a long time. Okay, so in 1982, I spent the summer in France. I think I talked before about Velcro shoes were in, but all the milk was not served cold. You didn't buy it cold. You all bought it shelf stable. You bought it warm, and then you chilled it.
In Taiwan, we only drink it hot.
Only drink it warm. Okay. What's the advantage? What would be the advantage if you bought your milk in a grocery store warm? Yes.
You don't have to go home right after you go to the grocery store.
Okay. So anything that's cold or frozen, in this case, I leave it in the car overnight. It's fine. Okay. On the shelf, I only when I need milk, I get it out or I put it in the refrigerator. So no one running to the store to get milk to make pancakes or for baby formula or cereal. I always have some milk in the pantry. Yes.
Have you eaten that with cereal?
Yeah, I've used it in all kinds of things. I prefer not to drink it as a straight drink because it has just a slight off flavor. But in anything I bake or cereal, when you put on Captain Crunch, nothing. But it has just a slight flavor, and I don't think it's too much different than when you say cupcake wine or things are just different, whether they're in a paper carton or a plastic carton. There's just a slight difference. And so your handout tells you a little bit about how it's made.
Wait, so do you have to refrigerate it after you open it?
After you open it, it's just like regular milk. It'll spoil.
Yeah.
Okay. But after you open it, but until you open it, it's good for months.
So probably with the dry squid too, like I mentioned water dry, but that's very popular. So you can keep it in stock for formulas if necessary.
If it was something you were going to mix with you, so you don't have to worry about running out. I always have that.
Does it have an expiration date of how many days it'll last after you open it?
After you open it, it's just the same as anything else. You can't put it back in the pantry. You got to refrigerate
But
it.
how long does it, how long does it stay?
Not any different than any other milk, so it depends. And so so the little girls they when they're with us they milk and they leave it on the counter for like 30 minutes. So you can't do that. The milk will only last a couple days if you don't refrigerate it all the time. So keep it refrigerated all the time. If you keep it refrigerated and you're not one of those people that opens the refrigerator every 30 minutes to look and see what's inside, it'll last a lot longer too. But I don't know. You'd say a week or 2 weeks at the maximum, but that's just like anything else.
How much is it a carton?
What would you expect?
Well, I saw some of the prices going up on the internet, but I don't know if that's because of shipping or what, but it was like $12 or something like that.
$86.
For how many?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to, okay, so $2 for 32 ounces, so for a half gallon. Much more, so about maybe twice as much. Okay, why? It's just that it's not volume. If there wasn't milk in the refrigerated section, I'm sure it'd be the same price. But they only have a few of these. They have 2% in whole. And how many of those do they sell? Not very often, so it's going to be much more expensive. So economy of scale. Who would benefit if we didn't have to refrigerate milk? Well, the companies that transport the milk to the grocery store don't have to refrigerate. Coors Beer, one of the things was we always keep it refrigerated, so they'd have separate trucks. I don't know if they still do that, but the idea was it's always cold. It doesn't go from hot to warm to cold to freezing cold anyway. So that was the thing about Coors is we always keep it cold. But obviously you don't have to, Julia.
If you have a big family though, and like a lot of little kids, wouldn't it make more sense just to buy big gallons to save money? Because
if it really was cheaper, what you have to, it's this idea, this tipping point. we've got to get, and this is in Europe, so again, 1982, okay, this is what Europe was doing, okay, the Velcro shoes. The Velcro shoes came, but Americans never adopted this innovation. Yeah, Katie.
I was just wondering, because I know how bad the dairy industry is running right now, is this going to hurt them even more because you're providing like a sustainable resource?
The technology's been around for 50 years.
So people don't buy fresh milk, though. Doesn't that put them even more of a ditch than they already are in?
I don't know if this would help milk consumption or hurt milk consumption. I don't know. People aren't drinking milk like they used to. Some people would suggest it's because the reason they drank milk was we convinced everybody they should be drinking milk. And now maybe people are like, why am I drinking milk? There's other ways of getting my calcium besides milk. In schools are saying that maybe we don't. Maybe you don't have to have milk for every meal. Not that Mountain Dew is better, but okay. But it's an innovation that has all these advantages. The question would be is how come Americans have never adopted this innovation? Cost-wise, I'm convinced we'd be able to bring the cost down. It's available in different flavors. Does it solve a problem? Well, because we have big refrigerators and we have everything cold and we have ice, it may not fit with our ideas about milk.
But what about people who don't live close to a store?
Certainly would help them, just like the kerosene refrigerators. But this is 100% milk. It's not soy milk. It's not almond milk. This is milk. It's just been heated to a higher temperature for, 27 seconds, and then we back it off and cool it. It has a slight taste. Do you ever go any coffee drinkers who puts creamer in their coffee? Oh, you put creamer in your coffee? You'll see creamer in these little containers, and they're sitting out on the counter.
Hotels or conferences.
None of that's refrigerated. It's there 24 hours a day. It's sitting out. It is UHT processed. It's been heated to a higher temperature. You don't think anything of that, of opening that up and pouring it in. But we haven't been able to adopt this innovation.
Those are more eco-friendly, like the way they're made, like the packaging.
The boxing than plastic.
Yeah.
Okay. Certainly, you'd say there's a certain amount of milk that's destroyed or dumped because of the expiration date.
Yeah.
And you'd say we would reduce the amount of. Now that may hurt dairy because if we dump a lot, we sell more, or we buy it from the farmers. It might reduce waste. But again, all indications this is a great innovation, and we have not adopted it. It's real milk, and so this one I opened. This one I'll just put back on the shelf and use it next year. Well, maybe not next year because it'll be expired, but.
Okay, I keep going back to what Austin said about like the WIC thing, and I was thinking back like when we had my little sister in foster care, they made my mom use like the government's like stuff, and I remember her getting like milk, Rice Krispies, and Chex Mix. Like those are like the three things I remember, and like that's what they made us get.
Okay.
And or like allowed us to get.
Okay.
And my mom hated it because like she hated using it, but just because like there's other people that could be using it, so she always would give the milk and like take it to like somewhere to donate it. But like if you give that, like that means so much because like how much milk do you give then like and not use? Like because we're not a big milk family, like that would have been a lot more beneficial because then if we do take it to the pantry or whoever, keep some for ourselves.
Yeah, waste is so you have tremendous waste with milk because it expires. Think of like bananas.
Yeah.
Okay, how many bananas never? You can only make so much banana bread. How many bananas are never eaten because they go brown before you eat them?
We were talking about this yesterday. Are you supposed to take off your bag banana before you buy it? And
Take it off. Oh, can you separate your bananas? You only want one? Absolutely, you can just take off one banana and buy it if you want.
One's bad, so you just believe it.
You're buying by the pound, so it doesn't really matter.
Even Walmart sells like
Individual bananas.
like the rotten bananas now, like they're like black.
They're not rotten, but I mean, so you want to make banana bread?
Yeah, they sell that now. Like I saw it the other day, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, this is off of topic of milk, but it goes like the crackers made me think of it. So the other day when I was at my grandma's house, she had the Buff crackers, but they were little mini ones.
Yes,
She was eating them
like
and
snack
everything.
size instead of
Yeah,
full
they're
size.
just like these little like.
You're saying that's an innovation, like goldfish size?
Yeah, kind of like they're just like this big.
Yeah.
And she puts them in her soup because so many people crumble their crackers up, they're already just like bite size.
All right.
It's kind of like my Pop Tart mini.
All right.
Pop Tart minis are no more.
Also, there's the Pop Tart minis.
Okay.
We have them.
They left. Like,
Good.
They're gone.
Good to know. Good to know.
I just thought of that. I never tried it anymore.
I looked online.
We get 2 cartons per person for tribal commodities. So like in our family, we got like 12 cartons every month, and like it was way too much. We used to give it to like my grandparents because my grandma would take it and she would put it in her camper. And when they would go camping during the summer, it would
Sure.
trip at the lake.
It's good.
So she wouldn't have to worry about it.
I can, and if I want it cold, I can refrigerate it then. I'm suggesting, I think the biggest barrier is where it's located. And so it's in the baking aisle, and you have to really know at 100% milk, and you think it's goat milk or almond milk or whatever. What's interesting is almond milk and soy milk and all those are sold as refrigerated. They don't need to be refrigerated. They're shelf stable after you open it, but they are, well,
Where you go, like some will be in the fridge.
it isn't any different. They're just choosing to, because they want you in your head think it should be cold because milk has to be cold. And so we could have this shift, could happen to where we don't have that. And you'd say, gosh, I remember when you used to have milk was served cold. Okay, now it's all, again, I remember when you could only buy beer that was warm.
We're trying the hot milk in town, and I was like, I don't know about this.
You mean it was room temperature or it was warm?
Hot, like they warm
Okay,
it
so
up.
they had to prepare
And
it.
they put, like,
Yeah.
sugar in it.
Okay, well,
I think this could be huge in like really like poor areas because like if people can't afford a refrigerator, like like people who are living in these areas where they can't even get electricity, something like this,
But you have to
They-
refrigerate after you open it.
but they can drink it within that amount of time.
That's right.
They can
That's
open-
right.
If they open it up, they can divvy it out to everybody, and that's at least better than not having any.
and you'd say either I'm eating my Captain Crunch dry or I'm eating with room temperature milk. It's like, it'll be okay. The Captain Crunch transforms it. Any food pantries, you'd say, gosh, if we had milk that was specifically, so maybe back to this idea of would it help dairy farmers? If this milk was purchased by the government and was gone to through pantries, and that's the only way. Anything that's cold is hell for pantries because we got to spend all the money on refrigeration, and we don't have. We just have limited money, and then if we have to keep stuff cold, then it really gets to us. So if we could distribute stuff and then didn't have to worry about keeping it cold all the time, meat, if we had shelf-stable meat also. Any other thoughts?
I know a lot of people, I don't know what other people's towns do, but we've started in Grove doing like the care boxes or whatever.
Yeah.
They're like the outside food pantry thing for homeless people.
Mhm.
So you can put this in it and then it's there, so it's not like they can take it as it's needed. You just take food as you need it,
excellent
and you bring
point.
back food.
Yeah, and again, that has some nutritional value. Okay, we want you to have milk, okay, because the calcium and vitamin D.
A lot of doctors are saying that for children, when you start transitioning from formula to milk, this is a better option for parents because of the way that cold milk is preserved, or there's something added to normal gallon milk. I don't remember what it is, but my little brother can't have like normal cold milk, so they told us to try this, and ever since
That works.
it works, and so now my whole family, like everyone uses this milk because
But-
like we have like the root beer flavor and all kinds.
But
of
it's an
stuff.
innovation that we've had for 50 years. It may be like the Dvorak keyboard, you'd say in your lifetime. I remember in class did that, but I still don't see boxed milk. It is available. It's whether it will catch on or not. And so far, it hasn't.
I think it's just because no one knows about it. Because like when
Well-
they told my dad went to I can remember this because this was when I was in high school. We went and we looked all through the, cold section, and my dad, of course he's a little hillbilly, he's like, where the hell is it? And we were asking everyone at Walmart. No one even knew what we were talking about, so we felt stupid. And it took us like an hour to find it. And then once we found it,
You're giving Demi a run for her money. It's possible that the food banks and this distribution from the government could be what pushes it to where people are more aware of it. That could be what's needed to make it happen. Do you know what this is? What kind of light bulb is it? It's a what kind? A CFL, compact fluorescent light. Okay? And so up above you are fluorescent lights, and so they were able to basically bring that down to this size. Okay? And do you know what kind of light bulb this is?
Regular.
No. It's an LED. Okay? It's an LED. And so we want to talk about the difference between incandescent, which I couldn't find one. I couldn't find an incandescent bulb. At home anyway. So this is the LED. Okay, has a longer lifespan. It replaced the CFL. That replaced the incandescent, and that replaced candles. Okay? Do any of you know the problem with this, the incandescent, the light bulb that you grew up with? It makes heat. That's why you couldn't unscrew a light bulb, because it was too hot. Okay? And so these, okay, don't produce heat. What's the problem with a light bulb producing heat? Fire. This one's the really bad one. Why did everything, burn down all the time? Well, it's because we had candles lighting everything. Okay? But what's the problem if your light bulb produces heat? Think beyond fire. Think, Will.
You have to create light and heat as like for a power source. It seems like it's kind of a waste because it's creating heat and it's creating light.
You don't really want the heat because in the summertime you have the lights on and it's making hotter, and then you have to have the air conditioning to cool the area, and so we don't really, most of the time, we don't really want the heat. We just want the light. Okay, and that's what we got with these two. The cost is the most important. So in a 60 watt regular bulb uses 60 watts. This, if it's 60 watt, and I'm not sure it is, it's very small in there, would use 14, and this would use 7. Okay? So it'd use a lot less wattage. Okay? The cost over 20 years, and this one should last about 20 years, this would cost $34 to use. This would cost $54, and this would cost $211 to use. And this one would have a lifespan of 2,100 hours, and this one here on the end would have a lifespan of 25,000 hours. Okay? So when you go home, if you have regular incandescent light bulbs, you should change them to either CFLs or preferably LEDs. Okay? Now again, this is not a course in energy efficiency. Now, how do we get people to, when they change their light bulbs, not buy this and either buy this or this? Yes?
Well, you mentioned that you couldn't even find them. So that's a big step right there. You can't find them.
Why can I not find these? Does anyone know?
They don't make them anymore.
They do not make them anymore. Do you know why they don't make them anymore? There was a ban, I'm not sure it was a U.S. ban. You could not import or manufacture 40 watt and 60 watt incandescent light bulbs. So the reason you couldn't buy them was manufacturers quit manufacturing because the U.S. government said you got to quit manufacturing these inefficient light bulbs. So one way to get people to adopt this innovation is to make what they were using not available by banning the light bulb. Okay? Before that ban went into effect, any other ideas about how you could get people to buy this new, more efficient light bulb? And this has come down in price. These are about $1 each now. When I was a teenager, Commonwealth Edison, which was our power company, used to give light bulbs away. Okay, you'd go in with your power bill to their office and you get a sack of light bulbs. They gave light bulbs away. Why would they do that? Why would the power company give you light bulbs? It's like the shaver blade, right? We want you to use our electricity. Here, we'll give you the blade. That's pretty innovative. Okay. Now power companies are, I'm not sure why, but they're encouraging you to replace your inefficient bulbs with more efficient ones. Okay. Savannah.
When you're not replacing them, it's like you're using too much power, and so it'll blow circuits more often and cause more trouble.
So it would allow you not to blow fuses if you used the more efficient ones?
When you're like installing things in your home and you're still using like older light bulbs, older it'll cause more damage because like the outlets can't like hold it off.
Okay, so that's one reason. If you've never heard of this today, how could we get you to go home and replace just one of your incandescent bulbs with an LED or a CFL? One of the problems with CFL is they take a little while to warm up. If you ever turn it on, it's like it takes a minute or two. These are instant. They come on right away, just like an incandescent. What could we do to get you to try this innovation?
I'm convinced already because it's going to last 20 years.
You would say, just looking at the metrics of it, you'd say, I'm convinced.
Yeah.
Have actually tested it? Like
Yeah, how would we get you to try it, though, if you'd say, Cole doesn't need any more. He'd say, man, I can see this is, if I have, now what if you don't have to pay the electric bill at your apartment?
Like,
Oh, no advantage.
you know at Lowe's or like
Do I know at Lowe's?
Yeah, like they have like those bars and like they have the light bulbs already screwed in. You can tell.
Oh, some demonstration?
Yeah.
Okay, of course.
When I was in, I guess it'd be graceful now, they still do it, but the actual power companies would like come in and give a demonstration
Yes.
classes, and they would send the LED light bulb home with kids to use.
Do you remember how you got?
There's like 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, so the little girls came home when they were at Ripley, the energy company came in, and they sent home this little box, and it was check your energy usage, and one was you got an LED bulb and you got to try it. There are municipalities, Stillwater did this one like 6-month period, they gave them away. We'll give you one. Okay. Now, why would the city of Stillwater give you a light bulb that's more efficient?
Well, I think the city wants everybody to be more efficient
Why?
because that's just what they want.
Okay. So one of the ways to be innovative or to get incentives is I will give something away. Okay. And the question always has to be is when we're giving something away, we say who's going to pay for that? So in this case, it would be the city of Stillwater, it would be the taxpayers who live in the city of Stillwater. And I said they're going to use some of my tax dollars to give people a light bulb that's more efficient. And by Colt's assertion, man, this is crazy. They'll pay for themselves in 6 months. If I'm going to live here 6 months and I'm paying the power bill, it's worth it for me to go change these all out. So why might the city, founding fathers, city personnel, whoever, why might they use some of your tax dollars to do this? To do what, Julie?
To get you to stay here.
Yeah, maybe that's not a bad idea. To show you how nice we are. Okay, look, we're here on your side. We want to save you money, Savannah.
I mean, if things are just working better as a whole and more efficiently, like that's less problems we shouldn't get to worry about light issue.
If you don't have to spend as much money on electricity, maybe you can pay your power bill. I don't
Or
know.
it would encourage you to spend your money elsewhere. If your
Yeah.
power bill decreases, then you would maybe have extra money and you would go shop more, go more.
Yeah, okay. Any other thoughts? Is that a good use of your tax dollars? Are you okay with that? Or are you thinking, my gosh, what a waste?
You have to buy the light bulb.
Sam?
You're going to have to buy the light bulb either way.
Yes. How much does it cost? If we bought them in bulk, how much did it cost for us to give you a light bulb? $1, maybe? Because we buy them by the we buy 10,000 of them.
Selling for $1, somebody's making a profit.
Yeah. And well, let's say we buy 10,000 and we give them away. It cost us $10,000. Was that a good use of taxpayer money? That $10,000?
I guess it kind of depends on how it takes, like with the community. Like if you get everybody switched, then yeah, that was a good use. But if everybody's like, oh cool, I got a free LED light bulb, and then they never
Cool.
use it again.
Do you remember what you did with those bulbs? Did you use them?
Yeah, we thought it was supposed to
Put them in?
Then did you replace all your other light bulbs?
I don't know. That was too long.
Yeah, you didn't do that. Penny waited for Dad to come visit because he's like 6'6", and she never replaced any light bulbs. She waited for him to come because he didn't need a ladder. She was afraid to go up on a ladder. So take that. Here's something we want to encourage you to do. There's some other thought, and it's a little past, but childhood obesity. Okay, kids are fat. Okay, and why are kids fat?
They don't burn as active as they used to be.
Maybe. Any other reasons?
Highly processed foods because they're cheaper.
Yeah, maybe. Anybody think they're drinking too much pop and sugary drinks? Okay, how are we going to fix that?
Ban pop.
Okay, no pop. Within the city limits of Stillwater, there is no soda pop available anymore.
I'm gonna have Dr. Pepper around.
Okay, that's not going to happen. So what else could we do? We can't ban it.
Tax it.
We'll tax the hell out of it. And so if it's a 44-ounce super gulp, we're going to tax that. And so cities have decided to do that. Again, is that part of what they should be doing? Well, they've decided that they are going to tackle that. And one way we're going to tackle that is we're going to put a tax on soda, on certain levels of fountain drinks or whatever, and that will hopefully discourage people. Okay? Are plastic bags a problem that you get at the grocery store? Okay, has any city decided that's a problem? And what do?
They charge you 10 cents a bag.
They are going to tax it, okay? And so in Oklahoma, I think Oklahoma's trying to ban any type of, they're going to prevent cities from putting a tax on because they're in the pockets of big business is what the answer is. But still, they don't want that to happen. So sometimes municipalities take it upon themselves to help people, okay, to encourage more efficient lighting, or to stop things that we think are bad for you. And then you decide whether you think that's... So the state thinks, bless you, the state thinks that alcohol is a problem. They think smoking is a problem. What do? We want to discourage people. One way we can do is we'll tax the hell out of it. Are they going to stop people from smoking? Are they going to stop people from drinking? No, they're hoping to discourage it. And others think that all they're doing is they're taxing people that can least afford, those people that drink and smoke. They're just siphoning money away from them. But that's a whole other issue. Oh, sorry about that. One more innovation. Give you 5 minutes to read about dung power in Cambodia.
Yeah, I wanted to run like 10 minutes and then turn on. So I just asked
This is Catherine. Make sure she tries it. She's going to have to try it. Any more crackers? Where are those Pop-Tarts when you need them? Yeah. I think, yeah. Those are something else. Will you get us something on that poison for the pigs? Okay. Raina's going to get us something on that poison. And next Tuesday we'll talk about it. Okay, when you're done, what do you think?
This makes me like think of those new like heaters that they're trying, like a lot of people are putting in their houses that they can like cook their water and everything. Like I know they was showing at the farm show, like they're like outdoor like stoves, and like you can put literally like anything in them. Like a guy back home has it, like he bales a bunch of straw, like puts a big round bale of straw in them, and that round bale of straw burns for like a week, and then that like heats the water in his house and all of that, and he doesn't have to have
The idea of making your own energy, in this case, manure that would go just in the field. Before we do that, we are going to tap the methane gas off it, and we're going to use it to cooking. So the problem is we got smoke, people, lung disease problems, and so now we've got a clean burning fuel to cook from, and we generate it ourselves. We don't have to wait for the natural gas pipeline to come from wherever. So it's self-sufficiency, I think, is kind of what you're talking about. Very interesting. Interesting that on farms, people would think of manure as something that would generate electricity, would generate extra income. Crave Brothers, who are a cheese company, I don't know where they are, but they have an entire methane production. They sell electricity back to the town. Other thoughts about how or why was this successful?
Even if you don't have money to buy a power source, like wood or something, or fuel source for your stove, you're always going to have waste. And if you can use that to cook with, then
Yeah, back to this idea of self-sufficiency. Yeah,
you
excellent.
save money and you're self-sufficient.
I just made a connection that it doesn't mean anything. I was thinking like literally the cycle is going full circle. You know, like you make food. I mean, like it's a good.
You have the waste.
And then you
Let's
have
do.
to produce waste. and
Let's
then
do
it goes
something.
back into the
Yeah, let's do something with the waste. Let's make it something we can use. And particularly in villages that are remote, we don't have to wait to string electric wires to you. You're going to make your electricity yourself. In this case, they were able to do that. The best was they were able to have a source to cook from.
Did the government pay for all of this, or like, did each person pay for it themselves?
Okay, second page, second full paragraph. The entire package for this village was paid for by the Australian government.
I was going to say, if people were paying for it, it'd be like, so it says it costs about $400,000 to set each one up, and they're spending about that one guy's spending about $10,000 a month on firewood. And so I was thinking like that's like 40 months right there of firewood that they're going to have to spend all at once. So I could see it in like having trouble convincing people to be like, hey, listen, I know this is a lot of money up front to get it built. Like if they weren't just, the government wasn't just paying.
Okay, fourth paragraph. 25 biodigesters were installed, serving 30 of the village's 130 families. Why didn't they give 131? Why didn't they just give all 130? Why did they only give 30 of the 130?
They have to have at least 3 cows.
Ownership at least was for making 100 families eligible. Okay, so first we eliminated 30 that didn't have at least 30 cows, but then only 30 of the eligible 100 got it. Why didn't they give the other 70?
Are they just testing it?
Said they tested it years before and it was a flop. Previous efforts to promote it, more than a decade, limited success. About 500 biogas units were installed, but most were abandoned by the users within a year or two. Why wouldn't you give all 100 that were eligible? Why wouldn't you give that? Why only give 30?
You're the other 70, 30, have it, and you're going to figure out how to get the money to have it. Everything, money drives everything.
We don't have to give all 100. We just have to give some. And the other 70, now in some ways, what Besner's here, because she's always talking about, you create a business. Somebody creates a business and sells them to the other ones. This is so great. Okay? And somebody has to repair this equipment. My business is repairing the methane things or sell the bags or whatever. I'm not sure giving people things helps. Okay? In this case, we gave some of them, but the rest of them, if you want it, okay, you got to come up with the money. And if it is that great, you probably will come up with it. I will tell you, $1 is equal to about 4,000 real in today's market. So 13 million people live on basically $1 a day. Each unit costs about 400,000 reals. So each unit costs about $100. Okay, and so for the Australian government to do this, if they each cost about $100 and they did 30 of them, for about $3,000, we took these people from using coal and sticks to we are using a clean burning fuel that's renewable, that's sustainable. Okay, you can generate electricity and have your karaoke machine. Man, this is really cool.
Also, another thought is like this comes from like being around all the like the outhouses and stuff, but like there's somewhere to put all the waste now. Like I bet in some of those lower income, like they don't have sewer systems, so this could be like an out.
It doesn't fit with what we think of waste. We think of waste as we want to flush and we don't want to think about it ever again. And this is everybody poops. Okay? The cows poop. Let's do something with the waste rather than let's just put it off here and not worry about it. Okay? I don't want, essentially today is where we end with class, but I don't want to leave without us talking about the Corn and Custom homework assignment. Corn and Custom was an extension educator went to a New Mexican village in the 50s and tried to convince them to grow corn with modern hybrids and modern technology rather than the old blue corn that they'd been using for household use. And so in a single sentence, the problem was corn yields were low and they weren't being realized the better yields that could be. Looking over the course of events, how would you describe the adoption? If you remember, what happened was the educator went in, brought hybrids, did demonstrations, had local farmers do trial plots, did all kinds of things. They tested the soil. They had made sure there was enough rainfall. Did everything that a change agent should do to get people to adopt this corn. Okay? Relevant factors, those are all the things he did right. And then what happened was that the farmers' wives complained that the corn meal that they'd grind by hand, when they'd make tortillas, it didn't hold together like the traditional corn they were doing. And 3 years after the innovation, nobody was growing this corn again. Okay. And so, what's to be learned from this case study? What did the extension educator do wrong? He didn't think about how corn was used. He came from outside this community and he assumed that excess corn would be sold because he wasn't from this culture where... Do any of you at your home, is there bread on the table all the time? For some communities, there's always white bread on the table. Do you ever go to Bad Brad's and get the Cowboy Special, which is some sliced brisket, a hunk of cheese, a piece of white bread, and a pickle on a piece of butcher paper? That's a traditional way in Texas and some places of Oklahoma, at least College Station, of serving it. But always a piece of white Wonder Bread. And for lots of people, their culture, that's what it was. And so I'm guessing in this New Mexican culture of New Mexico that the culture was we always have tortillas. We use tortillas, and those are tortillas that are made. And so when the corn that we use to make the tortillas doesn't hold together, that's a big deal. Okay? And so the wives who do the cooking tell the husbands, I don't want you to grow that corn anymore. The lesson is not that if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. That is not the lesson, although that is true. Okay? That who made the decisions were not the men, but the wives made the decisions here. But what happened for the extension educator, because he wasn't from that culture, he didn't understand how corn was used. And if he had been from that culture, he would have known that, and he would have said, we need to try this corn and see how it does with tortillas, because I know that's how we all use corn. Okay? But he wasn't from that culture. And so this idea of paraprofessionals, what they bring to the table, man, they know the culture, they know how we do stuff. What's bad about an outsider that's a change agent? He doesn't know how we do things, or she doesn't know how we do things, and can run into trouble. And so, how easy do you think it would be if you were the next change agent to get farmers in that village to grow hybrid corn? There's no way. There's no way. We tried that. Okay? And so did a lot of harm by introducing this innovation. They all adopted it and they all abandoned it. And suggest again, if he understood the culture of that community, that never would happen. And somebody says, all they had to do was, let's just grow a little bit of corn over here that we use for ourselves. Oh yeah, in hindsight, that's really easy to say. But whoever made the decisions, in this case the wives, they just said, hey, we're not doing this anymore. I know we're going to go back to the way things were, the way we like things. Okay. So again, the lesson is not that moms control society. The lesson is the change agent didn't understand the culture that they were dealing with and really screwed any possibility of that innovation being adopted later on. Okay. Tuesday we'll talk about the exam. Thursday exam, and then the next Tuesday we start with our innovation team diffusions. You don't use this. Have you used that so far in Dr. Edwards' class? Mike uses it. So this was Dr. Christensen we had at A&M. Was where